Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the
Weren't we just talking about hay?
We are the best sports podcast on the planet, Sports Unfolded, joining you every Friday night live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Eric, and my main man right over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm ready to go. I got a feeling I'm going to lose some postcards. Some Christmas cards today.
I cannot wait. Season 4, episode 13, Rattle and Hum. I just noticed the title. I'm looking forward to that. If you are joining us live, please utilize the chat. Let us know if there's anything you want to talk about. We're more than happy to do that as well. Not just the topics we cover. We do cover all of the top weekly sports stories going on in the world today, but we'll talk about just about anything as long as it's not religion or politics. We prefer to stay away from those topics because Ron's very opinionated. It gets ugly, and we just don't need that. We don't need that. Look at how upset he's getting already. All right, Ron, are you ready to have an amazing show? I think you are. I am.
Sure.
All right.
It's always a great show.
Very convincing. We are going to start off with our leadoff story. Jonte Porter of the Raptors is being investigated currently by the NBA for a gambling scandal. I know we've talked about this at length. Is the sports world doomed, Ron, because of all these scandals that we've had? So we think about Calvin Ridley suspended about 2 years ago for an entire season. Now we heard about the Shohei Ohtani thing that just recently came out. And here we go again, where we've literally now heard a player who was betting on himself, prop bets, and taking himself out of games because he bet the under and wanted to make sure he didn't, make or actually win his.
Yeah, and in this case, you know that they had something on him in order to do an investigation. So there has to be something there. And I do not doubt this. He's not a regular player. So when you see those prop bets on yourself, how hard is it to do it when you just take yourself out of the game and here you go, you don't make those lines and you make a bundle of cash.
Yeah. So brother of Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
So I guess before I owe you an apology because you've been telling us for quite some time now that these sports entities getting involved with the gambling side of the business, that we may see more of this. And I'm like, nah, it is. But it seems like it's becoming a more regular thing with a lot of different leagues. So baseball to basketball, right? Like you're seeing it more.
Football with they had a bunch of players last year.
Yeah, so
suspended.
I just don't know if we're going to be able to trust the game that we're watching at any given time when a guy misses a shot or takes himself out now with a nagging injury and he's close to, if you're looking at the betting lines and say, hey, look, he's under 20 points tonight. He's at 19. All of a sudden, my ankle hurts. If they're legitimately hurt or not. Are they legitimately not trying to make a shot so that they don't, because they may have a prop on them?
Absolutely. And, the proof is in the pudding, right? When you look across the board and you see things happening, it's going to raise the eyebrow. Especially with a guy that's not a key player, right? It's a lot easier for that person to to dictate those lines and whether or not somebody wins or loses than it is a key player, because a key player has to, go out there and do his thing. If he wants to be the best, you have to go out there and you have to perform. So in cases like that, I think there's a little more leeway when it comes to a star player, because they're supposed to put up those numbers, and for the most part they're going to go out there and they're going to do their thing. But when it becomes noticeable, when you really notice, I mean, he did it 2 times in a row.
In a week.
2 games in a row, you come out with an injury? Come on. That's a little much. I mean, if you're injured, then you sit out a game, right? And with him, he's not a key player in no realm of quality players in the NBA right now. So he's just a cog, and it's so easy to get overlooked.
Yeah, and again, though, you think about it right now, it's kind of the middle of the ground guys. You're not hearing big names. I mean, Calvin Ridley may be the biggest name, and again, he's not a superstar. He's a good player. Again, Shohei hasn't been found to have done it. I think we talked about it last week. I believe he is involved. I believe he was placing bets. I believe he probably placed bets on baseball. I would not be surprised. And again, I think it's some of that mentality. Listen, we knew Michael Jordan had a gambling issue. And a lot of speculation back in the day when he retired the first time that it was because the NBA was going to suspend him for gambling, and they didn't want to put that stain on the game, on his legacy, he kind of came up with the I'm retiring, I have nothing else to prove.
Yeah, see, and again, I go back to that thing. It's like, do I believe that he was betting on himself? I don't think so. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was betting on himself, but I think it was some kind of either in an NBA game or, again, was he betting against opponents when he played them? We know the kind of mentality he had, and would only make it worse. Listen, one of the best sports in the world at one point was boxing. And everybody, and I heard this the other day on the radio, and I mean, it kind of resonated with me. And the reason why boxing really started to fall is because people started to believe that it was fixed. That guys were either taking, a dive because of betting, or you got to lose this match to have a rematch because of the money that was implicated. Yeah,
and I'm glad you brought that up, because we had, I don't know if it was a pick and roll, or I think it was a starting 5, and I had a boxer in that category. Well, that boxer, I don't remember who it was, but I want to say it was the New Yorker, so to speak.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about, right? He took a dive early in his career, and he never really shook that. It's in those footnotes on his career that he did take a dive, and so it is definitely something that has happened. I would not be surprised at anything at this point. But again, if you're an athlete and you want a legacy, I think the chances are that those players aren't going to do it. But it has happened. It is going to happen again. And with the easy access to gambling these days, it's going to run rampant.
Think about the broadcasts you watch now. When you watch a game, it doesn't even have to be the 4-letter network. It could be anywhere. You watch it. They're always talking about the prop bets. They're talking about the over-unders. That wasn't a part of the game 10 years ago. I didn't care about the Patriots are favored by 3 in this game. It wasn't discussed. And now you see it as it's so common. And I know gambling's legalized.
It's on 24 hours a day. There are exclusive networks now for betting, and it's just a big mistake. When they open the door for these companies like FanDuel and all of that, when they open the door for that, we are going to be sorry. I'm telling you, as sports fans and
it already
leagues,
happening.
Yeah, you can see it. It's already starting.
And this is just, again, betting on yourself in a game. And listen, he hasn't been convicted of anything or found guilty of anything. So I'm not saying Jonte Porter could be innocent. Could be. But you're going to see more of this come out now because there's the ability to do it. It's not like you have to get some illegal bookie, which Shohei Ohtani done, but you know, and try to, because it's more common. You can go on your phone and push a button and place a bet.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see some of these guys that have this addiction and they don't want to lose.
I haven't really seen a league ask for anybody's phone yet.
Once. It happened once.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. But the
player intelligently destroyed the phones prior to. Very good, Mr. Brady. Yeah. Good job.
But, I mean, they could get confiscated. And, you know, I mean, if the feds are coming for you, you're not going to know it until it's too late.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad because as a sports fan, you believe it. I hate reality TV.
And then the flip side of it, when you have his brother, you know, basically kind of trying to protect him, right?
He's defending him, saying that he doesn't believe he did it.
But they never know. Like, he doesn't know what his brother's really doing because his brother's not going to tell him. You know, so he's thinking, okay, as a person, this is what he is. He would never do something like this. But you never know because he's not a star player.
Yeah. He's
not even a role player, really.
Yeah, he's a two-way player. I don't even think he has, like, a contract. But like I was going to say, I hate reality TV. I'm not one of those guys. I've never been into it. I don't believe they're not real either. I don't believe it's reality TV. Anyway, the only reality TV I had was sports. And I kept looking at it and saying, wow, you know, sports is, you can't, how do you not miss it? How do you miss a shot, right? With 0.1 second left to lose again? Like the reality of it, like it could happen. And now I'm like starting to question certain things, like a team that's up by 30 the other night to lose a game.
Yeah.
Could it have been, again, somebody had a bet on, you know, Atlanta winning by 2 or, you know, like, I don't know anymore. And it's sad because I used to just sit back and go, this is real. Guys don't fumble the ball on purpose. But they may. You may not. You may be taking a slap shot, and these guys take hundreds of thousands of slap shots during their career. How do you miss a wide open net? Because the over-under may be one goal. Like, I don't know.
This is what this insecurity does, right? I mean, it puts fans in a position where, oh, it's rigged. And, you know, somewhere in the back of everybody's mind that they've thought that in at least one game. And we all see it. Like, if it's not that, what about the referees?
Yeah, are they on the take? Do they gamble?
Because do they make enough money? They might not. They all have to have a favorite team. Look, if you're a hockey ref and you want to, you know, be in the NHL, everybody's got a favorite team. So do you subconsciously or even consciously call things on not to help your team in a game, but maybe to hurt an opposing team that's your rival?
Ron, do you remember Naked Gun 2?
Yes.
And he was the umpire. And then he'd make the call. And then when the crowd started to cheer when he'd make a call for the home team, and you're like,
right.
He's looking around. He's like, well, all right, I this is what I'm going to do. Like, this could be the reality of what sports is today now because of some of this stuff. So, I owe you an apology because I didn't think it was going to ever get to this point. I thought the leagues would be able to control it. I think the leagues either have to accept the fact that, look, your guys are going to do it. You just got to make sure it's not in the game they're involved in. But again, do they get inside information?
You also have to have the players' associations,
start to step
follow
in, right?
through and say, hey, look, if you do this, you're out.
Yeah,
period.
Your league, because again, if Steph Curry and LeBron James are best friends and, they're talking and go, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to sit this one out tonight because, my ankle hurts. LeBron never does that. But, right, does Steph say, hey, I got to bet on, LA tonight, even though he might not be in the game, he's got inside information to say, hey, look, it's a good shot that LA's going to lose this game.
And that's a big part of all of this is the inside information. That is the whole, backbone of the gambling thing.
I really want to know what
you have inside information. I mean, you can do wonders with that.
I really want to know what his prop was. I'm going to have to read into this more because I think it was like 2-3 rebounds and he took himself.
No, I believe it was 5 rebounds and 5 points in the first game, like 5.5.
Wow.
And then the second game, I believe it was 8.5 and 5.5
Imagine
rebounds.
being an athlete and not want to score more than 5 points.
Yeah, and he scored 0 points in both games and only 2 rebounds, I believe, in both games.
Oh, my goodness. That's pretty good.
So he really crapped out.
No my goodness. What a great discussion. Again, if you're joining us live, please come in. Let us know.
Eric,
do you think gambling is going to ruin sports?
We don't really talk about it that often, but this year, this is already the 4th episode.
Isn't that insane?
Since the NFL started.
Yeah, like it's just
because we had a couple of instances with them. So 4 in less than 6 months, 7 months.
And I wouldn't say, listen, you may start to see it with executives. Think about this. The NFL draft's coming. There's bets on who's going to be the number 1 pick. Does somebody in that organization decide to say, hey, I know Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick? Here's some money. We could start to see it that way too. So, so much that could be involved in this.
And let me tell you, the owners in the NFL aren't exactly clean.
No, come on. Stop it. All right, my friend. Great discussion. Let's talk some NFL. So there's been a new change, Ron. This tackle right here you will not see next year in the NFL, and that is a hip drop tackle. Is this rule good for the game? So before we get into this discussion, the hip drop tackle involves a swivel technique in which a player grabs the runner with both hands and wraps the runner up with both arms and unweights himself by swiveling and dropping his hips and or lower body, landing on and trapping the runner's legs at or below the knees. The infraction will result in a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
All right, so I really don't have a problem with the actual tackle itself being banned.
Are you crazy?
I mean, it's getting a little ridiculous, I can understand it. Listen,
Ron,
it's a crappy tackle, but this is a product of the NFL banning all kinds of things, and you have to try to take somebody down some way, somehow, right?
Not anymore.
But I do have a problem with it being a 15-yard penalty. That's something that was just legal last year. And then now all of a sudden it's a 15-yard penalty? That's a little too excessive. I'm sorry, it's too excessive. All the penalties, I think, on the defense is way too excessive.
Kenny,
because
right, Kenny. Hips don't lie, Kenny.
No, but I'm just saying, when you have all these penalties on defense
You're off your
because of tackles, I mean, you gotta be able to touch the guy. For that matter, why not just go to flag football right now, call it a day, and move on to another sport?
But this is my point, Ron. You're literally taking away
the only thing that they have.
How do they tackle him? A guy gets by you now, you can't tackle him. because
No.
you may land on his. How do you grab a guy from behind? It's telling you with your hands or your arms. Now you can't grab a guy.
Yeah. No.
I
And
don't
this is
get
what
it.
I'm saying.
And then if let's say you don't swivel your body in a technique that lands, but you pull him. Now you're pulling his hip out, which happened to Bo Jackson. Can you not do that either? Like, what? At what point do you get to where you actually can play football? And the problem with this, to me, is the game has become so offensive. I used to like the old school defensive. Nobody wants to see a 12-9 game or any of that anymore. So everything's got to be 30, 40 points. You're literally making it impossible now for defenses to even tackle a guy.
Well, what they're doing, they're making the running back more relevant now, too, right? Because now you can't stop the pass, and now you can't stop the run. So what do you do?
You can't lower your head. You can't now tackle below the waist. Where you tackling these people? I need to know because I'm confused. This rule by the NFL. Listen, they are trying to change this game way too much. Now you're changing the tackle. You change the kickoff. Pretty soon it's going to just be like, listen, you can only have guys run 5 yards and then you throw a pass and you can't touch them for 10. I don't know what's going on. I don't.
No, it's a no-win situation defensively. And that's the thing. Now, I mean, before, if you could stop the pass, if you could defend the pass somehow, some way, then you forcing the other team to run. Now you can't even protect yourself when they're running now. But, I mean, I understand the injury process with that tackle. I get it. But you're making it impossible to play defense.
Ron,
and now we're going to have more records broken that really don't deserve it. And we're going to be comparing, Jared Goff to Joe Montana because Jared Goff just threw for 7,000 yards this year. That's
Ron,
what we're going to be looking at.
I'm going to ask you a question. In all seriousness, in the Super Bowl, the San Francisco linebacker, his name is skipping my mind currently, blew out his Achilles running from the sideline into the game. I don't know if you remember that. It was early in the game.
Yeah, that's the guy who said was going to have a great game.
So do you not allow them to run? Is that going to be a new rule too? Like we got to make sure that they walk to a certain spot, that they're ready to go before, because that was an injury. Injuries happen in the game from walking from the sideline into a game. So at what point do you just understand that it's part of the game? I get the concussion thing and the head injuries and the devastation that it can cause. But you're probably going to break some fingers, some arms, some legs. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
If you're trying to protect the mental part of it, because we've seen so many things with CTE, I get it. Now you're saying, look, there's not a perfect scenario ever where somebody's not going to get hurt in this game. And they need to understand that. And I think this is where these rules are starting to come from. The kickoff thing, too. Again, you've already tried to eliminate a lot of these collisions, and now it's going to, okay, but somebody's still going to get hit in this. It's not like you do the kickoff and don't get hit. You'll still get hit. So what happens to that guy if he gets a busted rib? Now you can't hit him? Like, what are we doing?
No, see, because we don't care about the linemen, apparently.
I don't care about anything.
Right, so they don't care about the guys in the trenches. They don't care about that. They care about the star players getting, tackled the wrong way and they're out for the year, and then they don't have that star player that brings in, ticket revenue and jersey revenue and all this other stuff and betting revenue.
I can't wait until a quarterback gets hurt on a sack and they're like, you can't sack the quarterback anymore. It's a penalty. It's coming. It's coming. This rule's stupid. I hate this rule because I can already see it where a guy's going to question if a guy gets past him, do I try to tackle him? Because realistically, my body could still twist because that runner's trying to pull. Now, what happens if he twists me with them? I'm getting a penalty. I'm giving them a first down, even though all I was trying to do is grab him. I can't control. You can't control that. They make it
Yeah,
sound like
and I
it's
hate
deliberate.
that it's
It
a
wasn't
15-yard penalty. Why isn't it a 5-yard penalty?
it's not a deliberate action. It's not like you're literally
Right.
trying to swivel onto a guy's ankle or knee. It's part of the process when you're falling.
Yeah.
Dumb rule. Again, the NFL, I don't know anymore. Pretty soon, these guys are going to be all in bubble wrap, and that's all we're going to do. Oh, don't pop a bubble because then it's a 15-yard penalty. I give up. All right, we're going to talk some triple play, my friend, because I'm sick of the NFL right now.
Shallow right center, long run, but Michael gets there. Throwing back to first, may have a play. Doubled him off, and maybe a triple play. It is unbelievable.
We are having our
That's how they drew it up.
triple play tonight. NBA points leaders currently. That's Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We need to decide who we start, who we bench, and who we cut. I am first this week, so I will start us off with my triple play. And I was a little surprised here by what I came up with because I really thought I was going Luka to start, and I didn't. I ended up going Giannis. And I went Giannis, 23.3 points in his career, 9.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 8-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA. What I really liked about Giannis, 5-time All-Defensive Rod. That, to me, I know defense doesn't exist anymore in any sport. I like defense. I like guys that can stop the other opposing team from scoring. That's kind of fun, too. 2-time MVP, a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. So you think about the dominance when it came to that, and a 1-time champion, which forced me to put Luka on my bench. We know we love Luka. He does a lot. He can do a lot. Hasn't won a championship yet, which is a concern to me because I think that he's due at some point soon. But again, we have to see him do it before I'll believe it can happen. But great numbers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just not enough in his career yet. The kid is a legitimate star, though. We're seeing him blossom in front of our eyes every single night. I think he has the most 30-point games in the NBA this season. But I would not put him ahead of the other two currently. I could see it in 5 years if he puts up the same numbers he's doing, but not currently. So Antetokounmpo is my starter. I bench Luka, and I have to cut Shai. Oh, excuse us. Okay. Okay.
No, what you said is basically how it is. Look, Giannis has won a championship. So I had to give him the start. He's won a championship. I mean, he's been there, done that. And I know he's starting to whine a little bit, but it doesn't change the talent, doesn't change the numbers. And, I mean, he's just an amazing player. And he can get it done. So he's going to win a championship for you, is what you come to the conclusion of. Now, with that being said, love Luka. You know, I love his game. I love his attitude towards the game. You know, there isn't anything that is going to make me change how I feel about, you know, Luka's game. I mean, unless he just totally falls off the cliff, but that's besides the point. But, I mean, he's a great player. He's a great player, and I hope he gets the chance to win a championship at some point. At some point. He might need to be on a different green team. Just saying. No, I don't think it's going to happen either.
Although
but
Giannis,
I wouldn't mind that.
There's a lot of rumor Giannis may ask for a trade after this season if they don't.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Which would be insane to think about.
So I did put Luka on the bench, and like you said, Shai just doesn't have enough right now. Just doesn't have enough. He's just starting to come into his own, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he's got a long career ahead of him, and maybe 10 years from now, if this could be different. But as right now, that's what it is.
All right, and I love the little graphic. That's cute.
You like that?
Very cute. No, very nice. Very nice. That's our triple play. Again, if you agree, let us know who you would start bench and cut. But again, three great NBA points leaders currently in the NBA. So a lot of fun. And listen, all three of these, realistically, these gentlemen could win a championship this year. All their teams are in. So be interesting to see. So we're going to continue with our NBA talk, and we're going to talk about your guy, the guy that makes you so happy. I know you get a little bit, every time we get to bring him up, a little
stand
joy.
This scumbag.
A little joy. Draymond Green was ejected in his last game. About 4 minutes into the game, Ron, do you think the Warriors will keep him next season? Is this the final straw?
I think this is the final straw. I'm just disgusted with Golden State right now for not doing this sooner, to be honest with you. The moment he laid a hand on a teammate should have been the day they released him. That should have been the day. I don't care how good defensively you are. He can be replaced. He's not that good.
This season,
he's replaceable.
Believe it or not, 47 games. He's 8.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, 5.9 assists, all above his career average. He's shooting 58.3% above his career average, 38.4% from three above his career average, and 75.4% from the free throw line, all above his career average. He's having probably one of the best years of his career. The issue becomes this, Ron, and I'm going to tell you that I don't think they keep him if they don't advance in the playoffs, because I think that's where they're going to start to look at it. Does this guy ultimately help you get a championship? When they won the 4, he was a big piece of that.
Yes.
Now, so you could deal with some of these extracurricular activities on the court and say, you know what?
Yeah, but there's a tipping point, Eric.
And
there is a tipping point, and he's gone beyond that tipping point even last year. I mean, what he brings to the table doesn't compensate for what he's doing to his team.
He's a distraction.
To lose games because of it. The game he got ejected in, they barely hung on to that game. And it was not against a good team. And they need all the wins they can get right now, and he's costing them a playoff.
They're in the 10th seed, right? They're still fighting. I mean,
but they're only like 2 points, 2 games.
Yeah, the Rockets are hot right now. Listen, he's had 4 ejections, 2 suspensions this season. We're not seeing. Listen, to me, some guys learn from their mistakes. I agree. Listen, Draymond Green continues to have these issues. This is not a thing where you sit back and go, hey, you know what? I think he's learned from it. You just
it's like Tom Wilson in the NHL. They don't learn.
I think the Warriors actually are allowing this poor behavior because they keep telling him they're going to keep him. Like, we're going to keep you, even though we know you're a distraction. If you can go 4 minutes into a game, 4 minutes, Ron. We've been on for 33, and I'm still not pissed enough to want to get off the show, right? How do you go 4 minutes into a game and already get to a point where you're getting ejected? Like, you can't keep your mouth shut for 4 minutes.
Yeah, and when you have injuries at that position in the backup roles, you're needed more, and you're just hurting your team. That's all it comes down to, Yeah, I know you got their backs, but you're putting them in the position like that.
All right,
and you can't.
I got to ask you this question, though, Ron. Boston Celtics.
No.
Lose in the playoffs.
No.
Do you not explore bringing Draymond Green in? To add the toughness, to give them an edge, to do something that they don't have right now?
No. Nope.
What do? You
go find somebody else that can do the same thing.
Who's going to be Dennis Rodman was that for the Bulls.
Yep.
It helped them those years to get those last 3 championships.
Bill Laimbeer.
The Celtics may need that. This could be a guy that if I was Boston, I would explore.
I wouldn't.
I don't know, my friend. I don't know. All right. Let's talk
You
some
just hope that players can reach him. Like, what is Steph Curry doing about this? Like,
Dude, he started
you need
crying.
to talk to him.
Did you see him crying when he got ejected?
It's just so bad.
He
You
started
think Michael
crying.
Jordan would sit there crying? No. No, Michael Jordan is going to tell you to get your head out of your butt.
I mean, or go to Vegas and tell you, listen, we need you back because I think you've had a little bit too much time, away from the game for a little bit. I mean, but he was with Carmen Electra back then. Oh, my goodness. Was she not a looker then? All right. Maybe she is now.
He was with somebody else, too. Wasn't he with Madonna or something?
He was with Madonna for a little bit. You remember that? He had that whole stint with Madonna. Yeah. Yeah. Good old Rodman. Yeah. That was good times, though, basketball. That was some good times. Ron, let's talk some Major League Baseball. Jordan Montgomery signed a one-year deal, $25 million with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Do you think he's going to have an impact? So when we say, if you can't beat them, join them, right? Arizona was maybe the opposite. We couldn't beat you, so we asked you to come join us. He did help the Rangers beat the Diamondbacks in the World Series. Obviously not going to be ready for a little bit. Is this a good move?
It is a good move because Arizona was just there. So now you're adding a guy like Montgomery, and you got to be in the mix again. And when you get to the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. Because we all know the history of the Dodgers and how they choked last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they choked again this year. Even though I would say that they're going to win it because, I mean, that's an all-star team.
I will say this. A Boris guy, Scott Boris, had a horrible offseason.
Oh, he did.
And I start to question, like, if I'm a guy like Montgomery, listen, you're 31 years old. You're coming off one of the best seasons in your career. You've got to bank on yourself this year to A, stay healthy, B, have a solid year because guess what? Your value might go down. $25 million. This guy was looking for like $180 million deal. This could hurt him.
Yeah, when you look at the signings between him and Snell, both Boris guys, I mean, to me, that speaks volumes about the agent. Nobody wants to deal with him. Nobody wants to deal with Scott Boris because the greed is there, right? And then the attitude and the ego is there, and teams just don't even want to deal with him anymore. So they let him sit, and then they pluck him when those players start feeling a little desperate. And they all did. All his guys felt desperate.
And you cannot pick up a pitcher on basically opening day. And now you're looking at least a month and a half before this
Absolutely. He has to have a spring training.
So
he's not going to play for a month.
Right? Like, that's insanity to think about. Like, how's that damage your numbers as well?
Yeah. And then when he comes in after the month, he's not going to go far. He's only going to go 5 innings at best.
Yeah.
I don't know. You wait too long. And look.
Did you hear, though, there was a rumor out there that he refused to sign. Boston, I guess, the Red Sox went after him.
Yeah.
And he refused to sign with Boston. He said he wanted to go to a team that he at least knew had a shot to win.
Yeah.
Very interesting story that came out of that. I don't know how true it is.
I think especially after Giolito went down, because there was questions of whether he was going to be great.
The Yankees right now, Garrett Cole's on a 60-day IL.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need a pitcher either, Snell or Montgomery. There's these big market teams now. He went to Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona. This isn't a big market. San Francisco gets Snell. That's not a big market. I get, granted, it's in Cal, but it's not a big market compared to some of the other teams.
No.
That's very interesting when you start to see these players and how baseball is shifting.
Yeah, and, when you see teams like this past season, Texas and Arizona representing in the World Series, how does that even happen? how is it not one of those top teams like Yankees, Houston, Atlanta, LA? How are they not in there? Well, these teams come up and you gotta say maybe the Red Sox is what they thought. Hey, maybe if we do that, maybe we can still make it.
Red Sox already have one more win this year than you thought they were going to have.
Yes. Yes.
You listen, Yankees got a shot. Go 162-0. I'm
right.
excited.
It's going to come down to those Yankee Red Sox series, and those are the only games that those teams are going to lose.
Yeah.
But when you look at the dynamics of those teams, it isn't so much you're getting those top name players, but you're getting these younger players that they catch a little believability at the beginning of the season. And then once you start having that trend of winning, if they can keep it going, and this is what we're seeing with Baltimore the last couple of years, right?
Look at how
because they look at their roster 2 years ago when they started winning, and it's like, oh, they kept in it the whole way, right? It's no different, with Texas and Arizona. It's no difference.
And to your point, you're starting to see these big markets. Listen, the Yankees grabbed Juan Soto, and he's already said, listen, I'm not re-signing with you. I'm going to test the market.
Yeah.
So back in the day, it used to be a guaranteed lock, and that's not happening anymore. So,
yeah,
baseball has shifted in a way that kind of I like, because I like the fact that you got teams now that a Baltimore and Arizona, Texas, some of these teams that you're like you want to root for. It's not the evil
Minnesota.
empire anymore, right? It's not the glitz and glamour of LA. It's a regular team from Arizona that could make the World Series. It's a team from Texas and nobody gave a shot, right? And that's what's making that sport more interesting to me, at least, that there is so much of the same type of level teams versus, the NFL. Every year the Chiefs are in it. You know what I mean? You see it. Listen, as much as we make fun of Dallas and all them, Dallas, right, is in it every year in the playoffs. Buffalo's in it every year. Like, which teams are getting in for the most part. Baseball, not so much. Tampa Bay, how many years in a row? If they ever actually invested in a team, they'd probably win a World Series because they were in the playoffs every year. Tampa Bay, and you were in one of the toughest divisions in baseball.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I think that's the team that was really the catalyst for not really going those big free agent routes, because they kept trading them.
Yeah, every time
they get pieces.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I did this baseball manager kind of program game, right, where you act as an owner or GM, whatever it is, and you make the deals. I always used to trade away the star player when they become a free agent, trade them away, get pieces, and maybe the first couple of years you start doing that, it hurts, but then the generating of that farm team just keeps coming and coming and coming, and you always seem to have the next guy to take that guy's place, and that's what Tampa Bay has been doing. It hurt a couple of years, trying to do that. But now, okay, so, you have a shortstop. Okay, let's trade him, get pieces that are coming up, and you just bring the next shortstop up, and he's going to be pretty good because these are all top draft picks, and they got to go in, and they got to start somewhere, and you catch fire with them, and that's what's happening. And now you're seeing other teams following the formula of Tampa Bay, and it's working.
Yeah. Anything you're looking forward to, Ron, with this Major League Baseball season? I know we kind of have talked a little bit about, some of the moves that have happened. But is there anything you're looking forward to? Is there a particular player or a team that maybe you're saying, hey, look, I want to see what they do?
Well, I'm looking squarely at Rafael Devers for Boston because this is going to be interesting. If the Red Sox can somehow put together a pitching staff, which I think that's going to be their undoing. But if they can hang in there, if those pitchers actually pan out, like Bello, if he pans out and some of these other guys pan out, like Whitlock and Houck and all these other young players, that could make Devers happy. But if he's unhappy, that's going to create a ripple effect through the Boston.
I would say that the most interesting story out of Boston would be Alex Cora.
Yeah.
What's the plan for Alex Cora? Is he going to continue to want to sit around and not see them invest in talent and get players? And as much as, listen, he's going to always have this label now, unfortunately. He's a cheater, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he's still a very good manager. And you have to look at the fact that what he's been able to do. Boston was actually in the runnings for the playoffs last year. And then that mid-season dive because, again, you just don't have enough players to get the job done. Yeah. How long does that go again this season? It's similar to the Yankees situation, right? They invested all this money on the bats. You don't have pitching to go behind it. How long before, some of these players?
If you don't have pitching, you don't have wins.
Exactly. Listen, this is why Atlanta's so successful.
Yeah.
They got guys that just know how to pitch. Yeah. And even though the Dodgers choke in the playoffs, they get there because of the pitching staff that they have every year. They've got top quality guys. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the Boston dynamic is going to be interesting this Major League Baseball season because I think it's one of those that most people just assume they're going to stink.
And if they want to see... No, go ahead.
But if they have some success, now it throws the Cora thing into effect. And do they invest in a player or two to say, hey, look, you know what? We got a top manager. We might as well, see if we can make a run again. Most of the time that Boston has gotten there, they've gotten there with just getting these dogs, these grinders, these people that it wasn't superstars.
Right.
You add a piece or two that makes you better. And Boston's one of those teams.
Yeah, another thing I want to look forward to is who the next, Cinderella team is going to be. Because there seems to be one every year now. And last year we had both Texas and Arizona. But who is going to be that team that surprises everybody?
I'd love to see Baltimore.
I would too. I mean, they haven't been relevant since Eddie Murray was there.
Yeah, right. Cal Ripken back in the back in the day.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nice to see that they've had a couple of good years. Now they gotta take that next step. They gotta do that. It's just a question of whether they're really for real. I mean, they were good. They just failed in the playoffs. Because of teams that have been there.
Yeah. Listen, I think this might be the year for them. I really do. I like.
I hope it is.
And they spent some money in the offseason, so it wasn't like a sit back and hope everything. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting baseball season. We'll continue to talk Major League Baseball throughout the course of the year. Obviously, we talk about it every single week, but as things happen, we'll keep you up to breast on what we've got going on with baseball. So excited, so exciting, Ron. It is time for Split Decision. And once again, if you'd like to be a sponsor of our show for any of these segments, get your name right above me. Rana is going to tell you towards the end of the show how you can do so and get your name on there and have thousands upon thousands of eyes on you in ears as well. Because starting next week, very excited, we will be on the radio, Ron. Right?
Yeah.
So we've got a lot going on when it comes to Sports Unfolded and continue to grow to get more people to hear your business.
Yeah, so share the show, get people to watch us and to follow us. That is the key.
Ron, there's even I'm going to break some news for you right now as well. There's a very good chance that Sports Unfolded will soon be selling merchandise. So you might be able to get yourself your own Sports Unfolded T-shirts and hats.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen.
There are some deals out there that we're trying to work on right now. So, again, you'd be able to support us.
It's going to happen.
And get to share us throughout the world. All right, Ron. So it is split decision time. I am first today. Our split decision segment, basically we give each other two more likely scenarios, and we have to decide what's more likely to happen. I am starting us off, so I will give you my first split decision. And it is, Ron, who is more likely to get more wins this upcoming season? Dave Canales, the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers, or Gerard Mayo, the new head coach of the New England Patriots?
I'm going to say Canales. Because I don't see an improvement in the Patriots. In fact, I think they've even slipped a bit. Look, say what you want about Mac Jones. I had more confidence in Mac Jones than what they got right now. And
Jacoby Brissett, buddy.
Yeah, they could draft somebody, but I'm not confident that they're going to do that. I think that they're going to trade down and not even get a quarterback in the first round.
You may be correct, sir. You may be. Tune in for our live draft party, by the way. We break down round one and actually enjoy it. We watch it as it's happening. So join us for that as well.
Yeah,
Ron,
you want to stick around for that.
Gerard Mayo, I agree with you. I think that's
because after the third pick, we're going to be
just going to be
screaming.
All done. All right. So Dave Canales, I like it. Your first split decision, Ron.
You're going to like this because we made the transition from baseball. Who is more likely to be fired first? Is it Aaron Boone or Alex Cora?
You know what? I think Cora gets through this season because I think he's going to be able to do some stuff. I think they're going to have a better season than you believe because he seems to be able to get more out of players. I think there's a lot more pressure on Boone, but now that with the injury, that could hurt with Cole being out. I think he gets a little bit more of some leeway when it comes to that. But listen, they picked up Juan Soto. You got Aaron Judge. You got two of the biggest bats in Major League Baseball. But again, here we go with the same old Bronx Bombers. It's not always about how many runs you score. It's how many you give up. That's where I think Aaron Boone more likely to be fired. Based on the fact that I don't think they're going to be able to do the things they do, especially with injuries.
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought of this, and I feel like Alex Cora can do no wrong in Red Sox eyes.
I agree.
And frankly, they should have gotten rid of him after last season.
But the funny thing, and you being a Red Sox fan, the funny thing is more fans blame ownership or the front office of the Red Sox than they do Cora.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because if you tell me this, if they had talent on that team, you would feel like Alex Cora could get that team to win a World Series.
Yeah,
you don't feel
pitching.
that today because you don't have talent. That's not Alex Cora. That's why I think a lot of people give Alex Cora more of a pass
I agree with that.
With the Red Sox, and that's why I don't think he'd get fired.
But I don't even think that they fire him no matter what, because I think they like him too much.
I think he leaves on his own. I think he would.
I think he does leave.
I think he would leave on his own, but it wouldn't be this season.
So no, it's not. So therefore, I feel like Boone is more likely to go first.
Yeah, agreed. Nice one, good one though. Hey. Look at this. I got a baseball one, too. Ron, which team is more likely to have more wins this Major League Baseball season? The New York Mets or the New York Yankees?
New York Yankees.
Okay.
Only because of the competition. Yes, I know they're in the American League East. They have to face Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Baltimore. I get that. But the NL East, they still have the Atlanta Braves, the Phillies, and the Marlins weren't so bad last year. So I think the Mets will not get as many wins.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Your second split decision.
My second split decision, which league is more likely to have the next gambling scandal? National Hockey League, National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball, NFL, or NASCAR? Dare I say NASCAR? Who will have the next one?
NFL. And I'm going to tell you why. The NFL is the most popular sport in America today. I just feel like there's more opportunity there. I think as a country, there's definitely a shift in what we think about gambling. And I think a lot of these guys think it's okay. I think the Shohei Ohtani thing with Major League Baseball is going to back some guys off for a little bit. Just because it's like, if it can happen to him, and he's the biggest star in the sport right now, it might happen to me. So I might back off a little bit there. NHL, I just don't. I mean, it's still not that top tier sport compared to the basketball in the NFL. So I feel like the NFL would definitely be the more likely to see.
Yeah, it's also more difficult to bet on hockey. It really is. Because, when you have a good team in the NFL, you have a good team in the NFL. If you have a good team in the NBA, I mean, what happens, right? I mean, they run the table, basically.
Or you blow 30 point leads. Never mind.
That, too. And baseball is just dirty, so... So, NHL, a lot more difficult to wager on because the ebb and flow of the game changes drastically, and I don't think that's a safe bet at any means.
Yeah, no, that was a good question though. I agree with you. And again, NASCAR, I don't think anybody would even care. I just said that out loud, didn't I? Me too. And Kenny agrees. All right, Ron, we're going to talk some NHL now.
That's number 17.
The New York Rangers were the first team in the NHL to clinch a playoff berth. Question would be, how far do you think they could go, Ron? The New York Rangers, first team to clinch a playoff berth in the NHL this season. I mean, there's
Possibly
been some
the
other
conference
teams now that
finals.
got it. Some of them got in now. So, you know what? Because you're my hockey guy, I have to come with some information because I can't. If I don't come with numbers, Ron, you'd kill me because I know you know your hockey. Some of the keys in the playoffs: power play, right? Your man advantage. They are fourth in the NHL in power play, 25.9% of the time. Very good. Save percentage. They are fifth overall, 913 save percentage. They have a top scorer in the league, Artemi Panarin.
Artemi Panarin, the bread man.
He's fourth in points at 102, right? But then this is where I really looked at it. Goaltending. Shesterkin, 2.65 goals against. Jonathan Quick, who we thought was on his last leg and done, is currently fifth overall in goals against at 2.44. They've got two of the best goaltenders in the league.
Yeah. And in fact, I believe Jonathan Quick just took over the all-time lead in American-born wins, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is right.
Past
So think
Ryan Miller.
they have a lot of pieces that could get them to the Stanley Cup.
And you have an all-star defenseman in Adam Fox.
Fox, right? Who just won the game for him the other night. 29-11
Hell of a
and 2.
hockey player.
29-11 and 2 versus the East this year. So some of their top competition, they've won more than they've lost in the East. And Ron, they're currently hot. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 straight. They're getting hot at the right time. We
Yep.
thought last year when they made the pick to get Kane, that was the move. But I think some of these guys, they're a little bitter about losing the way they did last year. That's a benefit to them as well. I think the Rangers have the best shot coming out of the East. Other than the Hurricanes.
I said that with the Bruins too because they were stunned in the playoffs, right? The only problem is that the Bruins really didn't get to address anything in the offseason because of their cap problems. The Rangers, they let Kane walk, and it didn't matter because I think the team was really good without him, and they do have all those things that you need for a successful run at the Cup. A lot of the other teams do not have all those things. So, if all of those aspects of those things that you mentioned, and along with Adam Fox, if they all keep firing away, they can win the Stanley Cup.
And the difference between the Bruins last year and this Rangers team, I would say this. Ullmark had an unbelievable season. But we didn't think that was he's not been that goalie his entire career. Right? Swayman is a good goalie. But again, you think about the performance they had last year. Shesterkin's been a top goaltender his entire career. He's been one of those guys.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan Quick has won a Stanley Cup. He's been at the echelon.
He's won at every aspect of his career.
So you could see these guys in the playoffs not having that fail like you saw last year from the goaltending with Boston, because it's not like these guys haven't done it in the past and you're like, oh, okay, it was a one-off. The first season, these guys actually performed out of their mind. They've done it in the past.
And not for nothing, Ullmark made a crucial mistake in the postseason, and that opened the door up to Florida, and they took it, and then they bullied them the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it happened. The goaltending didn't hold up in the playoffs. The defense didn't hold up in the playoffs. And when those two things fail, you will not be successful in the playoffs. If you have your defense and your goaltender playing well in the playoffs, despite scoring or not, you can still win. Yeah. And that gives the Rangers a chance at the Cup.
It's such a fun. The East is going to be amazing.
It is. And it's like I look at these teams, especially those top four, Boston, Carolina, Rangers, and of course, Florida. You look at those four teams, I can say that it could be any one of those four teams coming out to winning the Stanley Cup. Could be. Any one of the four. Now, I think Florida and Carolina have an advantage, but the Rangers are just as good as Carolina. They're just as good. Just as good.
It's going to be a fun postseason coming up for the NHL. It's right around the corner, too. It's kind of crazy to think about.
There's I believe the Bruins have 8 games left.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we'll definitely be talking a lot more hockey, especially with the playoffs coming up. But it is time, Ron, for pick and roll.
Pick and roll.
It's time for pick and roll.
The fans have been quiet today.
Oh, basically our pick and roll segment, we have to pick them and decide. So this week, and roll with them. So we have to decide on some NHL greats that wore number 13. We're on episode 13.
No Charlie Coyle, though, huh?
Right? No Charlie Coyle. No.
He's played very well this year.
Pavel Dusak.
No.
Did I say it wrong?
Datsuk.
Datsuk. Matt Sundin, Teemu Solani, Slava Kozlov, Bill Guerin, and Ken Linsman.
Linsman, yes.
All right, we ranked them from 6 to 1. I am first this week. I will start us off and hack every hacking game possible. But at
a good one. Let me tell you, these are not like household names, most of them. But I'll tell you, these are good hockey players here. This is a great list.
Their numbers are phenomenal. So when I was looking at it, I was like, wow, they're actually all really pretty good.
There is no bad players here.
I went at 6. Ken Linsman, 256 goals, 551 assists, 807 points in his career. So phenomenal. A plus 221, which was second most of these 6 guys. Only 29 game-winning goals, and then 1 Stanley Cup. He never got any other awards. Again, great career, but didn't compared to some of these other guys. I went at 5. I went Slava Kozlov. 365 goals, 497 assists, 853 for points in his career, a plus 96, 56 game-winning goals, 2 Stanley Cups, but again, no other awards. So at 4, Bill Guerin, 429 goals, 427 assists, 856 for his career, a plus 51, 77 game-winning goals, 1 All-Star and 2 Cups. So again, he had the All-Star. That's why I put him ahead of Slava. Matt Sundin, I went at 3. Phenomenal career. 564 goals, 785 assists, 1,349 points, a plus 73, 96 game-winning goals, Ron. 1 Messier, and 2 All-Stars. No Cups. That's why I put him at 3. Because at 2, this is where it got really tricky because I was debating on who I wanted to put 2-1. Pavel Datsuk. I went at 2. 314 goals, 604 assists, only 918 for points, but a plus 249 for his career. 51 game-winning goals. He won 4 Bings, 3 Selkies, an All-Star, and 2 Cups. Wow, what great numbers. But Teemu Selanne at 1 by far stood out to me with 684 goals, 773 assists, 1,457 points for his career, a plus 95, 110 game-winning goals, 1 Calder, 1 Art Ross, 4 All-Stars, 1 Rashad, 1 Masterton, and a Cup. I went Teemu Selanne at number 1.
All right. Very good. Very good. We had one slight difference. I had Slava Kozlov, Vyacheslav Kozlov.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to
at number 6. And the reason being, I know Ken Linsman didn't have the game-winning goals like Kozlov did. But Ken Linsman was a different kind of player. He was a playmaker. But that plus 221 was too glaring to me.
I could see that.
And so I had to put him at number 5 and Kozlov at number 6. Now, the reason why you don't see him in all-star games is because basically back then, being the Rat didn't allow you to get those accolades. And basically, he was that generation's Brad Marchand, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Only Brad Marchand is a little more talented. He can do everything. But that's that generation's player. So he was number 5. Number 4, I put Bill Guerin, and I'll tell you, his numbers are fantastic. 429 goals. That is pretty impressive for a guy that flies under the radar every single year of his career and still puts up those big numbers. 30 goals, 40 goals. I mean, he was a goal scorer. He played a couple of seasons in Boston, and I didn't really know of him until he started playing in Boston, and then it's like, wow, this guy can shoot. He can do a lot of things. He's a power forward. It just didn't have all the accolades except for that 1 All-Star, but I think he was the better of those bottom 3. Number 3, I also put Matt Sundin, despite all his numbers on offense. The 564 goals, 1,349 points in 1,346 games, so more than a point a game. 96 game winners, 73 for plus minus. But that guy just didn't get it done at the end. No cups. A guy that talented didn't. I found him to be very lazy at times, and I don't think he had really the desire to be a champion. I think he just wanted to be a great player. And
Yeah,
there's
his
a
numbers
difference.
reflect that, right? Again,
Its
not
numbers
having the ring,
reflect
though.
that.
Rings
having
matter.
it.
Rings
That's
matter.
right. Number 2, I also put Pavel Datsyuk. What a great player this guy was. Those Selke and Bing awards, 3 Selkies. That's tough to do. That is tough to do, especially when you're playing in times of those guys that constantly get Selkies. Whether it was Bergeron or, other players throughout the league that have always been known for that kind of a thing. He was fantastic. 918 points in 953 games was incredible with that plus 249. And getting 2 cups doesn't hurt,
Agreed.
And number 1, I didn't think it was close. Like I knew right from the moment I saw the list, I knew Teemu Selanne was the best. I thought Matt Sundin would have came out to be number 2, but that wasn't the case. Teemu Selanne, far and away the best player on this list. He had 1,457 points, like you said. He did it in 1,451 games, so more than a point a game for a goal scorer. I mean, that's phenomenal. 684 of those. I mean, that is incredible. 1 cup, he got the job done at least once.
Yeah.
And 4-time All-Star, the most of anybody. Matter of fact, he had the same amount as the rest of the players put together. I mean, the only one of the bunch that actually won a Calder Trophy too for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, no.
So,
Awesome.
and the only one with the Rocket Richard trophy for most goals in a season. So, I mean, he was just fantastic.
Yeah, great player. Great player.
That was a good list.
All right. It was fun. Good time. Pick and roll there. Ron, it is time for predictions. We are kind of excited here because what a rough week. We need to get back on track. Kenny, hopefully you're still there because you need to definitely, get back on track. James, 1-8 last week. Ron did pick the Stanley Cup driver.
No, that's the Stanley Cup.
Not the Stanley Cup, the NASCAR Cup. But how great was that? So you got an extra win out of that.
But
again,
5 bad weeks in a row though.
Under 500. So let's see if
that's not good. That's not good. I'm not happy with
back
that.
on track, my friend. Back on track. So we are starting off with the NBA, and it is the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Denver Nuggets. That game's on. That game's tonight. Tonight, I am going with the injuries from Minnesota. That I definitely feel Denver's got this game, and again later in the season, they're not going to have the same stumbles that the Boston Celtics. This is when Denver's going to really start to take over the West.
Yeah, I got Denver as well. To me, it wasn't even a decision. I think, look, Denver sees what happened to the Seas.
Oh, I like what you did there. That was good.
So they're not going to fall victim to that.
All right. If anybody's out there live and you want to pick your game as well, we will get you on our prediction shot. So again, Minnesota at Denver. That's tonight. All right. So April 3rd, big day for me, by the way. Nice happy birthday to myself.
Wait, it's your birthday today?
No, Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh,
so
well, happy birthday, Eric.
Thank you. I may have to watch this game. This is going to be my birthday gift. The Oklahoma City Thunder at the Boston Celtics, Ron.
I only wish it was like tomorrow. Because after the Celtics lost twice to that crap team, they would come out and play harder. But now I'm not so sure when it's next Wednesday. But I'm going to go Boston. It's at Boston. They play very well at home. unless you're a crap team, then they don't play well.
I agree with you. Listen, Boston's extremely good at home. I think they only have like 4 losses on the season. Something.
Yeah, like
something
2 of them are Atlanta. One's Orlando.
Yeah, I don't. Atlanta's a good team this year, though. I think they're 4th overall. But yeah, I agree with you. I think listen, they're gonna hear everybody chirping about them losing back-to-back games to Atlanta, and I think they know that. Listen, people are watching right now to see how you respond to that. I think they're gonna play well. NHL action on the 2nd, Vancouver Canucks at the Golden Knights. The Knights have started to, flail a little bit and, spinning quickly. I went Vancouver
Going down
here.
the drain.
Yeah, I went Vancouver here. I just think that
I did as well.
Playing very well, Canucks.
Yeah, I went Vancouver. Look, Vegas better be careful. I know they're still comfortably in that playoff spot, but it can become uncomfortable. And you can go to a tailspin and, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, listen, anything can happen. April 4th, Ron, you got the Boston Bruins at the Carolina Hurricanes.
I went Carolina. I am not impressed at the way they're playing. They beat Florida, but they didn't beat Florida.
Boston
they got out of there luckily. They luckily won that game, and then they tanked against Tampa Bay the next day. And I know it's a back-to-back days, but that's no excuse. No excuse.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
I don't see this
the last couple
coming out very well.
Yeah, Boston hasn't looked good the last couple of weeks. Ron, are you ready for the UFL debut, my friend?
Wait, UFL?
UFL.
It's not USFL?
No. UFL.
They changed it?
United Football League. It's the XFL and the USFL combined. It's UFL.
Wait, what? Oh, come on.
The Birmingham Stallion at the Arlington Renegades, the 2 champions previous league. So the XFL champion and the USFL champion are playing March 30th. That is tomorrow that kick off the league here. Who do you got?
Oh, God, this is so ridiculous. I was all excited for a new USFL. I thought you made a misprint.
It used to be
but
the USFL.
I'm still going with my Italian Stallions.
The Stallions, baby!
Because they're actually playing real football. I don't know what this XFL crap is.
I wonder, do they do the kickoff like the XFL now in the UFL? I don't know.
I don't know, but I hope it's played like normal football.
Yeah, and I think Arlington actually was a losing record last year, or the year 2 years ago, whatever the hell they played. But
Italian
so
Stallions, baby.
I went Stallions as well. Ron, Sweet 16 action, men's tonight. Number 4, Duke Blue Devils at number 1, Houston Cougars. Listen, I know a lot of women out. No, let me not say it. I am going with the Cougars, baby. The defense, they're going to stifle the Duke Blue Devils. I went Houston.
Oh, I went Houston, too. There's no way I was picking against Houston in this. For many reasons. That defense is just too good. I don't think Duke is good enough. I don't think they're good enough. I think they got lucky. They got a 4th seed, to be honest with you.
I agree with you. Listen, they haven't impressed me much. Like, they look good at times, and then other times you're like, so it'll be interesting. Also, Sweet 16, Ron, tomorrow you got the number 5 Colorado Buffaloes versus the number 1 Iowa Hawkeyes. That's the women's Sweet 16. Caitlin Clark looking to go to the Elite 8.
And she will.
You got Iowa as well? All right,
I got Iowa as well. There's no way I'm picking against Caitlin Clark. There's no way. It's not happening.
I agree. I think that's the final, icing on the cake. If she can win a national championship, you will definitely go down in history as probably the greatest college basketball player, not just women, men as well. So I think she's got a lot to prove. So, yeah, I agree with you. I went Iowa as well. NASCAR. Ron, can you go back-to-back weeks and get a win here?
I got a feeling about this.
All right, March 31st. You got the Toyota Owners 400 in Richmond. Need a top 5 driver.
Yeah, but are they only driving Toyotas?
No. There's going to be everybody that goes to the race has to have a Toyota, though. That's the rule, they said. Toyota Owners 400. Only that they're the only ones that can watch the race now.
So stupid. It's dumb.
I don't know. People pay.
Don't even get me started on this. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs. He's number 2 right now in the standings. And I think he's due for a win.
Okay. All right. I went Martin Truex Jr.
He's number 1.
So I went Truex Jr.
He's also due.
He's run very well in Richmond, but hasn't won one. But he's looked pretty good there. So I went Truex Jr. So that is our prediction segment. Again, every week we do this. So join us live and get your name on our prediction chart. We want to just fill that chart up. Ron, we are coming to the end of our show. And normally at the end of our show, we do our final thoughts. But before we get into our final thoughts, can you tell all of the wonderful people out there that are either watching or listening how they can sponsor our show or continue to help support us by donating?
Absolutely, Eric. I think I can handle that. I mean, I've only been doing this for about 4 years now, right?
Only.
All right, so the first thing is, all you need is this email right here. You send us an email to this email address, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com, and we can send out all the information. But Eric, like I say every week, it's as easy as going to your local coffee shop and buying a large coffee, and maybe if you're in the New England area, you get a coffee donut.
Ooh, okay. All right.
but do that. You get your name up there in that corner above Eric. You get your banner there for your company, and we read off the ad that you want on the show, and thousands of eyes and ears will be on the show. And don't forget, we're going to be on the radio
next week,
and you'll want to be part of that.
Right,
before it gets too expensive.
That WDJY
99.1.
Right, over 350,000 potential listeners each week. So, how much will that benefit your business? Get your name on there. Let's get some sponsors on our show.
That's right.
Continue to help us grow. We Sports Unfolded merch coming soon as well, so you'll be able to advertise our business as well out there. And then again, continue to share, follow our show. We've had the ticker running, all the different ways that you can definitely, get involved with Sports Unfolded and Rhode Island Broadcasting. Such great shows on Rhode Island Broadcasting. But again, number one show on Rhode Island Broadcasting, Sports Unfolded. So let's get thousands upon thousands of people on your business. And then follow all our shows, and then follow Sports Unfolded on social media as well. So many different platforms that we're
absolutely
on. That you can continue
we're everywhere
to continue to help us grow. So normally our final thoughts, we discuss anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports related. I am first, so I will start us off. I do have two, unfortunately, and I know how much you love it. But my first final thought is for Caitlin Clark. I guess the Big Three League, Ice Cubes League, has offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to participate in a season of the Big League tournament, which features mostly former NBA players. And I hope she doesn't do it. I understand you're going to make less money in the WNBA, but I feel like this becomes more of a circus or a sideshow versus the opportunity you have now to expand that sport and become the face of a league and become the person that breaks through that barrier to maybe make the WNBA where it's higher paid and more watched and more opportunities for other young female athletes to grow. I feel like this is just a publicity stunt to get people to watch the big league, the Big Three, and it doesn't really benefit your career. I hope she chooses not to and goes to the WNBA next season and becomes the star and face of that league and helps that league grow, because I really feel like there's talent there that could ultimately benefit. If you think about the NCAA tournament, more people are interested in the women's side of it than they were in the men's. She had a big piece of that.
Yeah.
And now you have an opportunity to do it at a professional level. Let's see you do that and not take the take the money. Don't take the money.
I agree.
And we'd love to have you on Sports Unfolded if you ever want to do it. And my second, just wanted to give our heartfelt condolences and thoughts and prayers to the people in Baltimore, that tragedy with the bridge and the lives that were lost. It could have been much worse, but again, people's lives were lost. A tragedy, and you think about in today's society, we don't think that stuff could happen, and we saw it. We could see it now.
We do in Providence.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's unfortunate, and hopefully, those families are able to get through this, and then obviously that whole city and how they're able to get through without, the transportation is going to be a mess for quite some time. That's not a couple of weeks fix. That's years of work.
Yep.
So
we have bridge problems here in Rhode Island as well.
Yeah, I know. But our condolences go out to those families that lost their lives in that tragedy.
Yes, absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
Those were my final thoughts, Ron.
All right. So, NASCAR fans, I have a couple of questions for you. How does this NASCAR standings Cup Series actually work? Because I looked at the standings today trying to figure out who I was going to choose for my driver this week. And I'm looking at Martin Truex, number 1. He's got 0 wins. He's got 1 top 5 finish. He's got 4 top 10 finishes, though. He's led 124 laps and hasn't had a stage win, right? Number 2 on the list is Gibbs, who has no wins, 3 top 5 finishes. That's 2 more than Truex, right? 5 top 10, 1 more than Truex, 195 laps led to 124 for Truex, and 2 stage wins to 0 for Truex. How is he behind him? How is he behind? These standings make no freaking sense. And if that doesn't top it, all you have to do is look at Byron, who I chose last week, who has 2 wins. He has 2 wins out of 6 races this year. 6! He's got 2 wins. He's won a third of them, and he's 6th? How does that make any sense? It's stupid, and it just goes to show why NASCAR can't get its foot in the door when it comes to, like, the top sport. It'll never do it because of standings like that are stupid. It's dumb. It makes less sense than the tennis standings. Byron, 2 wins, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, led 61 laps. But doesn't it matter when you win the race? Apparently, to NASCAR, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Because no matter what, you're not going to be number 1. It's stupid. Fix it.
Oh, boy. That has been Ron's final thought. I want to thank you, Ron, for that. I want to thank all of the fans that have joined us live. Kenny, thank you for joining us. All those that are going to watch afterwards, continue to like, share, follow our show. We appreciate you. Join us every Friday night live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rhode Island Broadcasting, where you can chime in and chat with us as well. Ron, it's been a pleasure tonight. I've had a lot of fun. Next week, again, we continue to grow. Looking forward to that as well and that opportunity. Thank you, everybody out there. Ron, I will see you next Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You take care. And all I ever ask for every single episode is let's get peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.